We'd never seen him like that. Neither Gabriel nor I, says Sarah Guterman, and the impression was very shocking. It was as if he'd been emptied of himself. He couldn't hold his head up. That had to be it. It couldn't be agreement. That wasn't politeness or diplomacy. It wasn't the good manners of a host towards his guest. And I don't know if Enrique was pretending, making out he'd never seen his dad as that spectacle of disgusting obsequiousness, but he also looked shocked. This is German, Bethke was saying. To be able to sit down to a meal and talk of our land without complexes. Why should this country forbid us to use our language? What's already happened is terrible, but for us to let it happen is unthinkable. Why should we allow it, Herr Dereser? The government is closing German schools wherever they are. The German Secondary School of Bogota closed. The Barranquilla kindergarten closed. What, 7-year-old are a threat to the empire of the United States? You'll have read the comments by Struve, the communist priest. The honorable minister didn't close a school, but an institute of political propaganda. And then there are these cheap harangues. No more Nazi teachers. Declare Spanish the official language of instruction. Let's make a bonfire on the patio and burn all the Nazi propaganda. And what is this material? History textbooks. That's what Arciniegas, the minister, is looking for. That's what President Santos wants, to burn German history books, to persecute and extinguish the German language in this country. And what are Germans doing about it? They're letting it happen. Margarita, the hostess, interrupted him, or tried to interrupt him, talking about some association that was doing good things. Bethke heard her, but didn't look at her. Katz, a mechanic, Prüller, a baker, is that a great society? Are those the free Germans? There is poison in the blood of these Germans, Herr Derser. The source of that poison must be cauterized, and it must be done in the name of our destiny. That's what I say. Only a few dare to raise their voices, to protest, continued Bethke, and I am one of them. Are you not proud of your German blood, Herr Derser, and that blood flows through your son's veins? And that was when Enrique spoke for the first time. Don't bring me into it, he said. He didn't say anything more, and it didn't seem like he would say anything more, but those 5 words were enough to make Conrad sit up straighter. Enrique, please, this is no way to talk to... But Bethke cut him off. No, let him. Herr Derser, let him speak. I want to know the opinions of our young people. Young people are the reason of our struggle. Well, don't tear yourself on my account, said Enrique. I can take care of myself. Old Conrad interrupted. He obviously knew too well how far his son could go. Enrique is a romantic, he said. It's his Latin blood, Herr Bethke. How can you expect? Of course, you understand those born in Colombia. I was also born in Colombia, said Bethke, cutting him short. But that was an accident, and in any case, I don't forget where I come from and what my roots are. At this rate, Germany is going to be finished. Germany is going to lose the war, not against the Americans, not against the communists, but against every Auslanddeutsche. No, one cannot stand around with one's arms folded, watching the extinction of one's people. Everyone knows how human beings work. The mother always takes charge of raising the children, to a large extent by custom, and it's the mother's language the children adopt most naturally. Your wife knows it. Your son is the living proof. They rob us of our own blood, sir. They steal our identity. Every German married to a Colombian woman is a line lost for the German people. Yes, sir, lost to Germanness. He said that last bit looking down at his own plate to scoop up a spoonful of broth. No, it wasn't broth, it was cream of tomato soup, as thick as custard, that Margarita had served with a little spiral of cream adorning the surface. In the center of the spiral, there was a sprig of parsley, and there landed a whole bread roll, one of those the size of a fist, with a hard crust. Enrique had thrown it hard, as if he'd wanted to kill a fly perched on the parsley. The bread stayed there, held up by the density of the tomato soup, and the tomato soup landed on her Bethka's shirt and tie and slicked back hair. And I got splashed a little too, of course, inevitably. I don't have to tell you I didn't mind in the slightest. Old man Conrad stood up, as if his chair had a spring, shouting things in German and waving his arms around like a swimmer. In extreme situations, he would call Enrique by his German name, and this situation was extreme. Old Conrad shouting in German at his son, Heinrich, and wiping off her Bethke's shoulders. "Don't bother, don't trouble yourself," Bethke said, with his jaw clenched so tightly that it was a miracle we couldn't make out his words. "We were just going out." And his wife, the invisible Julia, stood up then, and she did so as she'd done everything all evening, without making a single sound. Her cutlery didn't make any noise, her spoon never touched the bottom of the dish, her napkin never made a sound when Julia wiped her little lips. She stood up, went to her husband's side. 2 seconds later, we heard the door. We heard Conrad saying goodbye. "I'm so sorry, Herr Bethke, something like this, a person like yourself will know how to forgive." But we didn't hear anything from the guests, as if they turned their backs on the apologizing old man. There was the sound of those little bells that shake when the door is opened, when it's shut. We did hear that, the jingling. And then we saw old man Conrad return to the dining room, red with rage, but without letting a single growl, a single insult escape. He kissed Margarita on the forehead and began to climb the stairs without looking at Enrique and without looking at us. We had stopped existing, or we existed as a disgrace, like a finger pointing at him. It seemed incredible to me that he wasn't going to say anything, and then he said 4 words, 4 little words. That won't happen again. "It will happen again," Enrique said every time you invite a son of a bitch to the house. Margarita was crying. "I noticed your father had turned away from her, probably so as not to make her feel worse." Meanwhile, old Conrad stood still on the first step, as if he didn't really know how to get to his room, or as if he was waiting on purpose for Enrique to say what he said. "I wonder when you'll ever be able to stand up to anybody." "Enrique, love," said Margarita. "Or doesn't it matter to you?" said Enrique. "Doesn't it matter if someone insults your wife in front of you?" "No more," said Margarita. Old Conrad began to go upstairs. "You're a coward," Enrique shouted finally. "A coward and a toady."